Okay, guys, so my fourth review today, and I think my fourth review for 2024. Have I done anything in the last couple of weeks? Or I should say in January at all? I think I have. Oh yeah, I did. I talked about Leibniz. Maybe something else too. Yes, I also talked about Clarke's Childhood's End. Well, I'm going to talk about Clarke again today, and I'm going to talk about his Rendezvous with Rama. I just finished it tonight, and it is extraordinary. It is, as the guy who wrote the introduction to this edition, he says that it's basically one of the most beloved and celebrated of all sci-fi. So Rendezvous with Rama is often listed as one of the best or one of the greatest of all sci-fi books. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was absolutely fascinating. It is less disturbing. In fact, it's not disturbing at all than Childhood's End. I found Childhood's End disturbing, as you know, upsetting. Rendezvous with Rama has gravitas, has weight. Wait a minute now. Series Rama, Book 1. Interesting. Oh, I guess he wrote some sequels. Oh, wow. Okay, anyway, Rendezvous with Rama is basically a story about mankind's, and I think you're looking at late 21st century man, or maybe early 22nd century. Anyway, man encounter with an extraterrestrial craft. At first they think it's just an asteroid, and then they realize it's a craft. Now, what's really interesting in terms of just coincidence is, if you've heard of the, what is it called, the Oumuamua asteroid, I'll put a picture of it on here. Let's Oumuamua. Okay. The asteroid Oumuamua, scholars, I should say, astronomers think came from outside of the solar system. So they call it interstellar object. And the reason why they know it's interstellar is it's going too fast. So nothing in the solar system can go faster than the sun's gravitational pull can make it stay in orbit around it, right? So Oumuamua was going too fast. So they knew by that it was not from here. It was just passing through. Now, one of the most interesting things, other than that, is its shape. Cylindrical, long and cylindrical. And I'll put a picture of it on this video as well. It's like cigar shaped, and that's the thing with Rama. It was also cigar shaped. So now let me see. Oumuamua has dimensions of approximately 100 to 1,000 meters by 35 to 167 meters. So let's just take an average. So say it was about 500 meters long by 100 wide, 100 wide. So the shape of Rama, which they call this asteroid, which later they know it's not an asteroid, is a cigar shape, much like, as I said, Rama. So I found it really funny as a coincidence. Say, oh my gosh, if Clarke hadn't written this book, 50 or 60 years ago, then you would say, well, he's basing it on Oumuamua. but he's not, of course, because nobody knew about Oumuamua until a couple of years ago. So that's a fun coincidence. Now, Rama is much larger, and what would you call it? So it's described as like being, I think, 50 kilometers long and 18 kilometers what's the word I'm looking for? Diameter. 18-kilometer diameter, 50 kilometers long. Okay, so it's massive. And most of the book is about a crew exploring it. Okay, and it is such a fun tale of this adventure, so to speak. It's all about that. And what I find to be the most interesting part of science fiction movies is when you're going into the unknown and anything's possible, right? And that's why I think maybe Star Trek has run its course, because Star Trek is no longer about, and hasn't, and really, I mean, the early Next Generation did this, but later Next Generation didn't. And really only the original series was really about strange new worlds, right? Seeking out new life and new life form, new civilizations, boldly going where no one has gone before. Now, Star Trek has ceased to be about that and has become more just kind of a space opera, right? It's about politics and war and intrigue and all that stuff, which is fine. I mean, sort of that's what Star Wars is, right? So the first Star Wars movie was all about, oh my gosh, look at this new stuff. And I remember being in the theater in 1983 or 4, and during the scene, Jabba's palace, and being just blown away, mystified by all these new creatures, right, that were presented to us. So, I mean, Jabba the Hutt, all these other guys, Slicious Crumb, and all the others, and just astounded by all these new things. But, I mean, Star Wars has held on to that better than Star Trek has, but it's become less sci-fi and become more space opera, right? But one of the great things about Rendezvous with Rama is it never moves beyond that experience of encountering new and letting your imagination just fly, have fun, right? This whole exploring a brand new thing. So there you go. So 90% of the story is about this crew who happens to be the closest to Rama, that's passing through the solar system, and they get to it and they explore this thing, and it's utterly enjoyable. All the good things about science fiction and the scientific ethos. So the values that science should cultivate: wonder, respect, open to new possibilities, of how different beings can experience the world, can experience time, space, virtue, vice, good and evil, and all these things. These are good and positive parts of the scientific ethos. So in that sense, it's enjoyable because Clarke is not heavy-handed with his scientism, saying that, anti-religion, man is a parasite on the world, and everything humanity touches, it ruins. That kind of heavy-handedness is politics. It's not science fiction, and it's annoying as hell. So Clarke Clarke's books are immune to that. So far, I've only read 2 of them. And this is just a real enjoyable adventure. I highly recommend it. And now seeing that there's, I mean, Clarke does say in one of the last sentences, he says the one thing about these Ramites or the Ramans is that they like things in threes. Okay, so apparently they were, I'm not going to spoil anything, but they liked threes. Okay, and so I guess that hints to the fact that this Rendezvous with Rama is the first book of a trilogy, right? In a sense. So that was basically the last sentence of the book, and I didn't think too much about it. I thought, no, he didn't write any sequels to it, but I guess he did. So I guess I'll have to review those in time. So it's a masterpiece. It's a superly enjoyable read for anyone who's might not be think science fiction is the best thing in the world. If you can't like this book, you'll never like science fiction. Okay, so I give it absolutely 2 thumbs up, and it was so enjoyable. Its vision of the future is interesting. Say 100 years from now, interesting. For the most part, plausible. But again, remember, he's writing from whenever it was, say the 60s. I'll put the actual date up here when I find it. And some parts of his vision of the future are incorrect guesses, because we've already transcended some aspects of his vision. And how say we today in this early 21st century, how we would have conducted ourselves exploring Rama would have been quite different. I can only say that. Of course, could we make it to Rama? No, we couldn't. Just like we could never get to Oumuamua, it's going too fast. Today we couldn't get to Rama as it was passing through the solar system. But in the future we could, sure. So I mean, that's always a fun thing when you're reading the classics of sci-fi. Is well, what did they get right and what did they get wrong from our modern day perspective? But Rendezvous with Rama, just really enjoyable. Enough said. Thanks, guys. Hope you have a great day.